And so we come to the final part, Polycarp's death, and some of what happened after. There is no suitable introduction. Polycarp was tied to a stake, wood and kindling piled around him, and then set on fire. We shall read from the account. When he had offered up the Amen and finished his prayer, the men in charge of the fire lit the fire. And as a mighty flame blazed up, we saw a miracle, we, that is, to whom it was given to see. And we have been preserved in order that we might tell the rest what had happened. For the fire, taking the shape of an arch, like the sail of a ship filled by the wind, completely surrounded the body of the martyr. And it was there in the middle, not like flesh burning, but like bread baking, or gold and silver being refined in a furnace. For we also perceived a very fragrant odour, as if it were the scent of incense or some other precious spice. When the lawless men eventually realised his body could not be consumed by the fire, they ordered an executioner to go up to him and stab him with a dagger. And when he did this, there came out a large quantity of blood, so that it extinguished the fire, and the whole crowd was amazed that there should be so great a difference between the unbelievers and the elect. Among them, most certainly, was this man, the most remarkable Polycarp, who proved to be an apostolic and prophetic teacher in our own time, Bishop of the Holy Church in Smyrna. For every word that came from his mouth was accomplished and will be accomplished. All that is left is the lifeless corpse of a great man. But even in death, Polycarp could not rest in peace, so he so earnestly craved or so richly deserved. We must again note the similarity of one who went before. James the Just was thrown from the temple, but survived only to be clubbed to death. Again, we turn to the testimony of the eyewitnesses. But the jealous and envious one, the adversary of the race of righteousness, when he observed the greatness of his martyrdom, and that his life was irreproachable from the beginning, and that he was now crowned with the crown of immortality, and had won the prize no one could challenge, saw to it that even his poor body should not be taken away by us, even though many desired to do this and to touch his holy flesh. The evil one in this instance may be interpreted as the Roman state, and collectively its officials. The father and uncle of police chief Herod, interesting names, Nicetes and Alcha, petitioned the magistrate not to allow the Christians to have the body, as, or else they may abandon the crucified one and begin to worship this man. We read that the Jews were the primary instigators in these events, but we must be careful not to judge them. For such it was with the Sonderkommando in the death camps in the Second World War. They must be considered victims of the Holocaust, forced to do the stuff of nightmares in order for themselves to survive. Survive, that is, not live. So the Jewish people living under Roman occupation were similarly often frightened for survival and eager to please their oppressors in order to avoid brutal punishment. The chances of the Christians abandoning Christ would seem to be very low. Included in the account is a testimony of faith. They did not know that we will never be able to abandon the Christ who suffered for the salvation of the whole world of those who are saved, the blameless on behalf of the sinners, or to worship anyone else. For this one, who is the Son of God, we worship. But the martyrs we love as disciples and imitators of the Lord, as they deserve, on account of their matchless devotion to their own King and Teacher. May we also become their partners and fellow disciples. Steadfast in their faith, the witness stood by the centurion who placed Polycarp's body into the middle of the fire and cremated it. Even after it was cremated, his followers gathered the relics, as bits of bones and stuff that wouldn't burn, and we hear more. So later we took his bones, which are more valuable than precious stones and finer than refined gold, and deposited them in a suitable place. There, gathering together, as we were able, with joy and gladness, the Lord will permit us to celebrate the birthday of his martyrdom in commemoration of those who have already fought the contest and for the training and preparation of those who will do so in the future. This is a non-running battle, and they know that the future will involve more death. There are a few more paragraphs in the account dealing with the historical context of his martyrdom, and we're told that he was burnt at 2 p.m. along with 11 more from Philadelphia. So the account is actually quite detailed. It's easily findable on the web. If you search the web, you search Death of Polycarp, you can find the accounts. So, Polycarp's gone. What do we gain from this? We have now heard the story of two great martyrs and the detailed account of the death of Polycarp. It is clear that the faith of the Church was greatly strengthened by these events, and we might be impressed by its resilience to persecution. And the persecution was vicious at times. You can find that on the internet as well. It's some of the things that they used to do to Christians just for being Christians is unspeakable. But is it any different today? We read through the history of many religious persecutions, some very brutal ones within the same faith. The Catholic persecutions in England and Spanish Inquisition spring easily to mind. There are the well-known persecutions against other faiths, the Crusades and the Holocaust. What we find is in these dreadful events made little if any difference over time. It is perhaps now time to put away the sword and follow in the life of the early martyrs, who were ever keen to promote peace, love and kindness. Polycarp's undoubted love for the slave boy who betrayed him allowed him to be burnt in peace. His love and gentleness for his persecutors echoing the teaching of Jesus. Love your enemies. We must just jump forward to the 21st century because I can't go through the next 2,000 years. And we're going to look at how the examples of the martyrs can help us better understand our place. That's our place with each other and within the whole of creation. I don't know when that's going to come out. Hopefully soon. It's a sad story. May peace be with you, and thank you for watching.